It's weird how this is, but the Chicago Bears can't do offense. They can't. Name their best receiver ever. Name their best quarterback ever. But their best corner, linebacker, safety, pass rusher. This year is a prime example. The last 2 years, they've drafted 6 offensive linemen. I think one looks like he's good. Their wide receiver group right now is easily the worst in the league. Darnell Mooney is a 2, maybe a 3. The rest of the guys are cast-offs. So, and this year's draft is a great example about the Bears. They hire a defensive coach. He looks to be pretty good. That Bears defense pretty good. Matt Eberflus. They draft a corner and a safety were their first 2 picks. They're both great. Their third pick, Velus Jones, a wide receiver. A complete reach. He's a 6th-round pick. They pick him in the 3rd. He's a return guy who could never track a ball in college that doesn't run good routes. I talked to 2 NFL executives last night that are in the war room during the draft, and they just rolled their eyes. They're like, he's a return guy. That was their 3rd pick. They don't know offense. They've never known offense. And this is no offense. So I'm going to be really, really patient. I've said this all year with Justin Fields. The kid's working with a terrible receiving core, a bad offensive line. So the comp for him is Josh Allen. So both of them are big, strong, athletic, and can struggle at times with accuracy. Both have a defensive coach. Both have a bad offensive line. Both are in a cold, northern, windy city. So that's kind of your comp, right? So Josh Allen year 1, like Justin Fields. Woo! What interceptions, not good looking. Josh Allen year 2, like Justin Fields in year 2. Kind of bumpy, but the difference is Josh Allen with still a bad offensive line, with a defensive coach, with no running game. Josh Allen, year 2, you were getting 20 touchdown passes, 10 rushing touchdowns. He started to be wildly productive. Justin Fields still isn't. Now again, Josh Allen, bad O-line. Josh Allen, no run game. Josh Allen receiving core in year 2 wasn't as good as it is now. But you saw the leap. When I look at Justin Fields, I see bad body language. The completion percentage has gone down, and he's not Josh Allen, the prospect. He's not. So the Bears right now have a situation where they'll be as good as their quarterback. And I don't think you can blame Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator. I thought they moved the pocket last night. I thought they were clever. They rolled him out a lot. You can only roll out so much. At some point, a kid's got to be comfortable in the pocket. Josh Allen, very early in his career, he may have been wild. He was totally comfortable sitting in the pocket and throwing darts. Loves it to this day. He runs when he has to. So I don't want to hear that, well, Justin Fields was great at Ohio State. In the history of the NFL, Ohio State's never had one great NFL quarterback. They have the best talent in the conference, and they go up against Purdue and Illinois. Of course, the quarterbacks throwing to 5-star tight ends, 5-star left tackles, 5-star running backs, and 5-star receivers look great. They've never had a star quarterback in the NFL. So that doesn't mean anything. Nothing. And I'm going to be patient with Justin Fields. But the comp with Josh Allen is similar. Windy, cold city, defensive culture, bad O-lines, wild initially. But I saw a big leap in year 2. Even though he still wasn't that accurate, if you go back and YouTube Josh Allen year 2, he's jumping over people. He's really comfortable in the pocket. And I don't see it with Justin Fields. Now, could it be turned around? Everybody's going to blame, and that's fine. But at some point, we've got to be realistic here. The Bears don't do offense well. They don't. So is Justin Fields good enough to overcome his reality? I mean, good God, their 3rd-round pick last year is a complete, utter reach. USC, 3 years, he was never productive. He couldn't track the ball. He didn't run routes. He's probably a great kid. He's fast. He could be a tremendous special teams player. But I've said this before. Once every 7 or 8 years, you get a quarterback good enough to overcome problems. Andrew Luck, Josh Allen. They're just good enough to overcome stuff around them. We know Chicago doesn't know offense. Hell, you can't name their best receiver ever. You may live in Chicago. Alshon Jeffrey? He's a good player, but... So I look at Justin Fields. I'm going to be patient. He gets the year. But that comp with Josh Allen, and there's a lot of similarities. I saw a big move in year 2. Right now, I've got to be honest. You can blame Matt Eberflus, but I think he's actually done a good job. I didn't like them hiring a defensive coach. I did not. But I think Eberflus, I watched that defense. It is well coached. And Luke Getsy, who spent years in Green Bay, I think they're moving the heck out of the pocket. I think Washington's offense is a disaster. It's not clever. It's not smart. It doesn't make me think. It never catches me off guard. I think Chicago's well coached on offense. Receivers stink. Their O-line's a question mark. They could use another running back, another tight end, 3 receivers. But the question is Justin Fields comfortable in the pocket? Doesn't look it. Is he good enough to overcome the reality of the Bears franchise? I don't think he is. But I'm going to give him the year. I hope he's right. I love Chicago. The kid is big, tall, fast. He's got a whip. He made the best throw of the game. And there was that one drive they scored on. The play calling was clever. He was accurate. It's not a disaster. I'm not sitting here telling you when I watch him, I'm seeing, oh, the guy's got no talent. I'm saying Josh Allen's the comp that people are using, and I compared him. There are moments with him, but I don't care how well you run. Lamar Jackson today wasn't terribly comfortable his first year and a half in the league in the pocket. He is now. He's tied for the NFL league. 10 touchdown passes, middle of the pocket. So we'll see. But I will tell you this. Even with the Jets, who I criticize, there are wins. I've told you about the Jets. Their GM's great. They got the GM right. I don't know if the coach quarterback worked. The GM's good. I will tell you when I watch Chicago, here are the positives. I think Eberflus is really good. I really do. I think he's really good. I watched that team. When you get yards, you earn them. I think I wasn't a fan initially. I have a right to be wrong, but I don't think I'm smart to be rigid. I think Eberflus is good. I really do. I think he's really good. And I think Luke Getsy is clever. Don't listen to anybody. They're moving the heck out of that pocket. They're doing everything they can. But, man, they do not do offense well. So this kid's going to have to overcome stuff. I was sitting there this morning writing down if I had the Bears, because they have tons of cap space next year. And if I was the Bears, what would I do this all the time? I'm such a dork. If I looked at their cap space this morning in their draft picks, I would literally go buy the best center on the market, the best right tackle on the market, a number 2 tight end, a number 2 and 3 receiver, because I think Darnell Moody's like he's a 2. And then I would draft a wide receiver in the market. I would literally go get 6 starters off it. They need more of everything. Another tackle, another running back, another 2 receivers, another tight end. Because they can't draft it. They can't draft offensive talent. So go buy it. Right? There you go. Okay, so I was thinking about this. Mahomes and Josh Allen will play this weekend. And if you just took, and I don't care about all the quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks that I like in this league, that I think are special, and you just put them in 2 groups, I think Mahomes and Josh Allen have separated from the league. I think they're different. I think the arm talent, the ability to move, I think they've literally separated from the league. And then the second tier's got a bunch of guys that I like. I don't care what the order is. I like Brady and Burrow and Herbert and Rodgers and Stafford and Lamar and Derek and Russell. I know I still like him. Kyler and Garoppolo and Jalen Hurts. I don't care where you put them. The guys after that, I don't think there's a lot of special there. I don't think there's a big gap between that guy and the backup. We're seeing that in Dallas. But if you had to separate, and I was thinking about this morning. So in my entire life, let's go to the 70s. There were two quarterbacks that I remember well. Bradshaw was winning all the rings. Staubach won a couple of rings, but may have been the most talented. Staubach is probably the most underrated player, in my opinion, I've ever seen in the NFL. Discipline, intelligence, accuracy, running around. Bradshaw got most of the wins and the hardware. I thought Staubach was actually more talented. I know Terry doesn't want to hear that. In the 80s, Elway was getting the rings. Many people believe Marino was more talented. Those were the 2 star quarterbacks. I'm not just talking titles. I'm talking the 2 that take your breath away. In the 90s, it was Favre and Steve Young. Both won a title. Both took your breath away. In the 2000s, it was Brady and Manning. Brady was winning the rings. Most people felt Peyton Manning was the greater natural talent. He was a number one pick. 2010, it was Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Most people felt Aaron was the take-your-breath-away talent. Brady was winning the rings. And now it's Allen and Mahomes. And I do believe that Josh Allen is the take-your-breath-away talent, but Mahomes will end up winning more. Some think he's the most physically gifted, up there with Marino and Elway. But it is interesting. If you go decade to decade, there have usually been two. And they're both really talented. Bradshaw, Staubach, Favre, Young, Aaron, Brady, Manning, Brady. But one guy usually wins more titles than the other guy in that decade. And I do believe there are advantages to Mahomes. What? He's got the offensive coach. Josh has the defensive coach. Kansas City rebuilt their offensive line in 1 year. It took Buffalo 6. Buffalo still doesn't have a competent run game with their head coach 6 years in. Kansas City always runs it okay. If you look at the way the sport is moving, and I do have a feeling this weekend Buffalo's going to play well. But I think that shootout last year is what it's going to look like. Close games, offensive league, complementary run game, better offensive line. Mahomes will just sneak past Josh Allen more than Josh Allen will beat Patrick Mahomes. But I think if you're totally honest, as much as I like a lot of guys in this league, I think they've separated. Leadership, size, arm talent, mobility, they're just different. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.